Okay, this is a story about a man who had no ears, and he's named Hamster. And he could read lips so well that it was hard to believe he couldn't hear every word. It's just as if he could hear you, even though he had no ears. He was a car mechanic. He was a really good car mechanic. He did everything by vibrations. He could do the whole tune-ups and everything just by feeling whether it was adjusted correctly. And he could speak normally like a hearing person. And he learned how to do that all by vibrations also. So except that he didn't have any ears, he was a regular person, regular life, normal town person. He was a bachelor, and he didn't have any expensive habits or tastes, but he always paid for everything in cash. So everybody figured that he'd hidden away a whole bunch of money somewhere, cash. So one day in February, it's a cold, cold day in February. This guy walks, a stranger in the town walks into this diner. It's just a few doors down from Hamster's garage. And he comes in, he hears two of the local guys talking, and one of them says, the two guys' names are Roger and Eddie, and they're little gossips. So one of them's saying, I paid me $2,000 in cash right on the spot. I don't care because I don't have to pay taxes, but, he must be having this money somewhere hidden in his house, or somewhere close, So, Eddie goes, I tried to get him to open an account, but, the guy's stubborn. So, just at this moment, the guy is sitting down at the counter in the diner next to Eddie. And the owner of the place, who's also the waitress, Reddy, turns around to the stranger and she goes, well, that must be why they call him Hamster. She's kind of kidding around, but Roger and Eddie, of course, know that it's a joke, but the other guy doesn't. So at any rate, they all laugh hysterically. And the guy orders something and kind of horns in on their conversation. Says, my friend had an uncle that was like that, just stored away, money for years in the deep freeze. And, when he died, they found it all there under the pork chops, just frozen in this lump of ice. And, so, there's a lot of strange people like that just stash away a whole bunch of money. And Roger said, well, that's the way it is. Some people, money doesn't mean that much. You hide it somewhere, they never really need it, They don't trust banks, whatever, so. But they're probably just happy, doing whatever they do, Like I know Hamster, he's really happy being a car mechanic, So the guy goes, mechanic, is that what your friend is, a mechanic? And he's looking out the window and he sees Hamster's garage sign down the street. Goes, oh, that guy, And Roger goes, and he's a great mechanic, terrific mechanic. So they start talking about cars, and the conversation changes. The guy leaves, and nobody ever sees him again. So then 8 days later, Hamster's out in his garage, and he's working on the post lady's car, and he's, sort of bent over the hood of the car, and his fingers are running over the surface of the car. And he's talking to the post lady, and he's keeps turning around to see her so he can, keep her in view. As he's working on the car, he's wearing these earmuffs that she'd given him. They're really good friends, so at Christmas she didn't know what to give him, so she gave him earmuffs because he figured it was something he didn't have already. So he's wearing the earmuffs that she gave him, and they're joking along. And she remembers how he walks over to his toolbox and he's whistling a tune, Hamster is, as he's working, because he's just whistling away. He didn't learn how to whistle one tune. just by vibrations. He'd actually learn how to whistle just with one simple little tune. So meanwhile, he's working on the post lady's car and whistling and talking to it. And there's this other guy who's standing there waiting to have his, what do you call it? Waiting to have his car fixed. This guy's a stranger to town. While he's hamster's fixing the post lady's car, this guy's standing there waiting for him to work on his car. So hamster works on the post lady's car, and she waves goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. And the guy is just, hamster just left there alone with the guy, fixes the car. And another friend of hamster shows up in about 20 minutes, just in time to see hamster like collecting $5 for the spark plug or whatever. Other stranger drives away, and he'll be able to, I don't really see him before either. Okay, a couple days later, one of hamster's friends comes by the garage and says, "Hey hamster, you want to go out? A couple of brews." So he says, "Oh no, I can't. You know, somebody stopped in here and they want to do a car fix because they don't get it fixed tonight. They'll just be working tomorrow, something like that. I don't know." But you know, hamster was a real soft-hearted guy, so he had agreed to do it. So he wasn't going to be able to go out with Jack then. So he's later that night. He's working on the car and stuff. He's about finished up, and so he goes into his office, which is blasted in like regular gas station offices, and he has a wall phone, old-fashioned wall phone. And he picks it up, dials the number. You know, he's still learning the earmuffs. He's working all the time. He really got a kick out. So he dials the number, and there's you know, he stands there and waits. And after a certain amount of time, he goes, "Hello, this is Hamster. Hi, Chubby, this is Hamster. If any of the gang are still there, tell them to give me a call. I'll probably be here for 10 more minutes." So he sits there, and he just rests his hand on the phone. And then when it does ring, he can feel the vibrations, and he picks it up and says, "Okay, I'll be right down." Which is the only way he ever conducts phone calls, just by calling and assuming this, leaving a message for the person who might or might not be listening on the other end, calling and then he can feel the vibration, and then he can give me the message as soon as he picks up the phone. So that was the story. He had decided now he's going to go get someone to pick him up in 10 minutes to take him over to the bar so he can hang out with his friends. So he hangs up the phone and he goes back into the garage for a second, turns out all the lights, comes back in, you know, through the garage door to the office, shuts the garage door, punches in the alarm code, burglary alarm code onto his little computer thingy on the wall. Comes into the office, locks up the office, and as he's turned out the lights, and as he's leaving the office, he's standing there on the steps, and just, you know, with his back to the street, you know, locking the door. And all of a sudden he kind of senses this movement, and he feels somebody, he feels a poke in his ribs. So he feels a poke in his ribs, so he figures it's one of his friends, so he kind of turns around because he couldn't hear that he was being held up. So